Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome to Sunday Night Fights. We've got a couple games going on. We're gonna have a nice, relaxing night of commentary, some classical time control games. I'm gonna make sure my layout is good here. And yeah, so actually, Jesse, we just had the Rapid tournament, and we'll be seeing Sunny's game. He's playing a ladder game, but he won. He won the Rapid event, 5 out of 5.
Cool. Yeah.
So he was on fire today, and he's playing this ladder game against Eric Toast, who I feel like we did look at his game, but I don't
Yeah, we did.
couldn't tell you. Well then, I guess we should start with the round robin game, the big one, and then we can come back to the ladder games.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm retweeting this. It's my, this is Father's Day, buddy. So I just said somebody needs to bring me a beer. Kostya, on the other side. Can you go to one of those services that bring me beers and stuff?
Yeah, happy Father's Day, Jesse and David, if you're out there, into the
Yeah.
chat. Hey, Sombrero.
It's very hard. It's actually impossible to get a beer on Sunday in Maryland.
Really? You guys have church
It's
laws?
yeah, it's like a church law, exactly.
Oh, man.
So we got ourselves this Bastrikov variation, which I didn't even remember. When we played it, I didn't realize it was the Bastrikov. I didn't even know that. Chess.com, a lot of times it has all these names for openings that I haven't even heard of before.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the Bastrikov, I guess, is this Well, I don't know. Actually, it's just some other madness here that these guys are playing.
Right. Well, it looks like kind of an English attack. And so, okay, this is the game between Mitch and SC2. These are two guys from the Warrior group. We always talk about Mitch being a big openings guy. And
Yeah.
actually, he played in the Rapid event too. I feel like he actually had two Taimanovs this morning. And both games went Bishop E7, F3, B5, G4. And in the first game, Black played Knight takes D4, which I think is kind of like the main line. G5, Knight H5, and Bishop E5. This one.
Oh my god.
And they follow this theory. So this is something I remember from when I was playing the Taimanov. This was like the main line of main lines. And
The main lines,
yeah, it's like goes to this move Queen B8. And then Black like forces this endgame where Black is down a pawn, but has decent counterplay because White's G pawn is weak, and Black will play H6 and get some like kind of like dark square play. Basically, if Black is well prepared, they should equalize, but White is kind of a pawn up, so it's not like super easy position for Black to play.
Right.
And so yeah, Mitch had one game in this endgame. I think he won, and then. His other game, his opponent played Bishop B7. He went King B1. I actually think he played Sunny in that other game. So Sunny's playing White in our game. And then Black played H6 here, which I felt like was a mistake because White just played H4, and then it was actually very hard for Black to castle. So today,
So right when we played our game, this English attack stuff was my understanding, like the testing line for Black in the time on was this stuff, and you corrected me. You were like, no, dude, your theory is like 3,000 years old. Yeah, it's actually this other kind of stuff, a lot of which we faced, I guess. But yeah, this is. Let me just say one thing I don't like to do, and I remember looking at this ages ago. Is in general, I don't want to put my bishop on b4.
Mm-hmm.
right? I know that that's theory and everything, probably what the computer wants to do. But since I never want to really take the knight, and f3 is a good move, yeah, I just feel uncertain.
Yeah, it definitely feels like has to be a position you're kind of comfortable in handling. Like, I do think the bishop often does go back to e7 just to provoke a3, and yeah, then it kind of makes like some strategic sense for black, like to provoke a3, then push b5. But yeah, this is definitely kind of older theory. Nowadays, yeah, the main lines are all about bishop e7. But this seems to be...
Can you explain knight b3 to us? To me?
Yeah, actually, I think I can. The point of knight b3 is to discourage black from taking on c3, because if they take here and go for this endgame, I think normally this endgame is like kind of okay for black, but here it's a problem because if black is not in time to play d5 immediately, they're just going to be like really passive, and I think here d5 runs into bishop d4, and then black has issues on the diagonal, just immediate problems with white going like e takes d5 next move. And so because this kind of concretely isn't working, so knight on b3 is making space for this move. That means that here white can threaten to play bishop d4, or can go like king b1 or a3, basically isn't worried about the capture. Whereas if white played like king b1 here, then I think black can go ahead and actually go for this endgame with d5, because it feels like it just works out. Like black gets a very nice version of this.
Okay.
So I think that's... my understanding is a couple years old as well, but that's what I think. Now there is another move in this position for black, knight e7, which is really kind of funky, and just playing for like d5. And then here the main move for white is to just go knight d2 and cover the knight on c3. Now that there's no threat of knight c4 that the bishop has to cover, here white can just avoid this problem altogether and then go king b1. And I mean, super sharp position, but yeah, can be a lot of fun. But knight e5 is normal, knight b3, b5 seems fine, king b1. Hey Mary Ben, thanks for following. And I see we got Percy Hepworth in the chat. Shout out to Percy.
And then the very fancy rook b8 was played.
Yeah, rook b8. Okay, rook b8 is thematic in some positions. I don't know if it's the right move here or not.
So right, it's very rich. Like the guy, I'm certain bishop b7 is a move. And
yeah, so I guess I should point out with king b1, white is usually threatening knight takes b5. So this might be the idea behind rook b8 to defend this one tactically.
yeah, so bishop b7 is not a move.
Right, so yeah, bishop b7, it might just be a blunder. Yeah, so usually king b1 is kind of setting up this connection. So that's one everyone should know. I think I saved like 20 people from blundering, hopefully.
Right, so rook b8 is very clever. And then dude played, I think, bishop e4. Knight c4. Unclear if he needs to play knight c4. Fine, it's our position.
And queen g5, okay. Really quick, too.
Well, it certainly asks a distinct question.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible that this is known to Mitch. I mean, we know he's a openings guy, and I mean, I saw him have this position on the board twice earlier today, so clearly this is something he's looked at. Um, yeah, actually, I think this might be like a very thematic idea from White's point of view, so I'm not too surprised that he's played this one quickly. At least I'm hoping that this is something he's seen before.
Well, I mean, it's pretty dramatic if black does. I mean, what is black's? Black's got a real question to answer here.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. Uh, I'm just skeptical of the time usage. That's all. I'm just always like, wow, that came really quickly. So.
Oh yeah, no, this guy, dude, Mitch is like, Mitch is on fire with the openings, and I'm not sure it's doing him a favor. I mean, he might win this game, and it's gonna look good. But I was thinking about today, actually, it's like, I've done a lot of bicycling. I was never very good at it or anything, but, at the very amateur levels, or even, just not even amateurs, just dudes out for a ride, you'll get people who buy very fancy bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And the very fancy bike really is only going to help you if you're like in some hectic race and you're going to win by an inch or so.
Right.
And that's a little bit what it feels like with these hectic openings that Mitch is playing. I mean, look at it. He's barely thought that long at all on this stuff.
Yeah.
He might be winning. He might be winning.
But I guess I always wonder, what happens, like, let's say black goes bishop e7, queen takes, rook g8, queen h6, rook g6.
Right.
And, like, the engine will say white is probably, like, much better or something, but then he has to actually, like, play this position, which I think, is really far from obvious for most players.
There's other moves I'm realizing too, like maybe even the ridiculous looking king f8.
Uh-huh.
With the idea that if you ever give me your dark square bishop, I'm never afraid. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But that would be the idea.
Just something like this.
And in addition to rook g8, I might have queen e5.
Yeah. I was thinking as well. Yeah, and so you have to be able to kind of win this position as white. Otherwise, like, what's the point of all the opening study? I've always felt like that was the whole reasoning behind like teaching the endgame and how to convert endgame positions, is because like if you can't convert a big advantage, then it's just going to be pointless to study trying to get that advantage if you don't know what to do with it.
I mean, both of those positions, right? King f8 and what was the move that you said?
I thought maybe just bishop e7
or bishop e7. Both those are pretty hectic.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it. Because he's gonna think about it. So, like bishop e7. Now you gotta take, right? I don't know what else you're gonna do.
Yeah. Otherwise, total waste of time.
And you won the pawn, but black has got like a Death Star thing going on the queen side. Yeah, really. I don't even think bishop f6 is a threat because we'll just play rook g6.
Sure.
So yeah, that your move I think is more likely than king f8, but king f8 is also kind of. You can see my addiction to the dark square bishop. I didn't want to play bishop e4 in the first place either. Well, and bishop e7 is more forcing too, right? Than let's say my weird move, which I really doubt that my move. But in any case, with king f8, I'm just worried like my rooks. Maybe white doesn't take on.
Yeah.
Even if that bishop f6, I don't know how to evaluate that either.
Yeah, if white just goes like bishop d3 or something, right?
Or something, right? I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Though that's still a pretty rich position, I guess. All that's like the knight on b3. It's like a lot of Sicilians. These two knights aren't working for him. Well.
Yeah.
Man, these guys are playing like deep theory, man. these guys are like, what are they rated? Like, I thought for sure, it was funny. I thought for sure Mitch was like a master, like 2200. And then I got corrected, and he was laughing at it, like, no, I'm only like 2100. Jeez, buddy, you're playing like GM level stuff.
No, I mean his online rating is around that, but his USCF is like 1800.
Oh man, yeah, unbelievable. This guy's got crazy opening skills.
Right, but I mean, I feel like, at 1800 he would be pretty underrated. Like working with him in the warrior group, like giving him like having him solve exercises and stuff, his opening knowledge, yeah, I would have put him at like 2000 plus for sure.
Well, yeah, I don't feel too bad then. Yeah, when I had some training sessions with him as well, and definitely felt stronger than 2000.
And his opponent SC2, I'm not totally sure. I get the feeling his FIDE is around 2000 or so, but I don't know for sure. It could be his online rating. I always get them mixed up. And yeah, we got knight a3 on the board. Now, this was always in the position, but I guess my first thought is just king c1, just ignoring.
Well, before we do king c1, let's do the obvious.
Yeah.
So snip, what does black want?
Well, take.
Queen g7.
That's a good point.
I don't know if it's a point. It was just like, well, we better answer that question first. I'm sure he has some idea, because this looks like game over. Yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, that could just be a piece.
And then an attack. We want a pawn too. I don't see it. I don't see anything here. I feel like I've got to be missing something, because otherwise, knight. Yeah, well, he thought for a while. And then
It's true. Yeah, I feel like I want to give some benefit of the doubt here. Hey, Vish Chess. Well, it feels like this last move by black, knight a3, is kind of a blunder. I mean, white takes the piece, black takes, and maybe he just thought bishop takes, queen takes is going to happen, and then queen g7 is not a problem. But if white just takes on g7 immediately, then it feels like everything is hanging in black's position. Bishop d4, knight d4.
or queen h8. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
Or rook d4. That's what I don't understand. It seems like there's so many ways for it to go wrong.
Yeah, this one just taking. So, well, we'll see. Mitch is thinking, okay, clearly this move might not have been part of his repertoire, as it's.
Yeah, probably not. It probably wasn't part of his repertoire.
Like +5 move or something. But we'll see if he figures it out. So the danger, as someone who's often been kind of over prepared, is like you always get this expectation, like, well, the engine says it's something like 0.8, so I'm guessing it's king c1, and you don't even like think about the position. You're just thinking about like what would the engine have said here, and then you kind of look for moves based on that. But it can just confuse you. It's just like totally, I think, harmful to your actual understanding of like what's going on in the position. Yeah, he's playing SC2 here. SC2 versus Mitch. Actually, I have the round robin, Jesse, if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah, let's take a look.
The cross table, I should say. Let's see. This is Warrior Group 1. And so yeah, these tournaments I think are ending soon. A couple of the players have played 9 games already. Vishnu is done. Rio Bikajet also done. And then a couple players on 8 games. Pirate King, I'm actually surprised has played so few games. He seemed really excited about the tournament, but maybe just got busy.
Yeah, I was really. I think. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah, we're wrapping this thing up, and then I guess the big announcement is we're gonna have a new one starting soon, right?
That's right. I've been recruiting players for a Masters round robin. So Strong Chess is in. I think we have, I want to say like 2 or 3 more players already confirmed. And I don't know. I'm thinking like maybe even 6 players would be fine. Like it doesn't have to be a super huge group. But the idea is to get everyone to commit to playing Sundays during this time, so that we'll always have at least 3 games going.
Right.
Um,
Oh, Mitch won. They resigned. He resigned. SC2 resigned.
oh, he just resigned after. Wow, he's probably just disgusted and didn't want to. Well, I guess I can't really blame him.
And not only that, but then now I have to admit that Mitch's opening prep is killing people.
It won a game. I mean, yeah.
Starter, I gotta say that I would have Spring at C2 is knight C2, but that is not why. And I didn't know this. This is only because Kostya knows more about gaming than I do. It's StarCraft 2, right, Kostya? That's the deal.
Yeah, I think he told me that. Yeah.
And Vishnu's asking why people don't gift him pieces. They do. They do gift him pieces. But I do think, even though this was a blunder, where the opening prep helped was it's annoying when your opponent hasn't spent any time and is putting you under some pressure, and then right after Queen G5, you gotta make a call. And you got to be ready for Queen G5 when you play Knight C4, right?
Right.
The other move, I guess, would have been to play Knight or just castles. Just castles, and I assume maybe Queen G5 still happens, and D6, and then we talk about it. Yeah.
Well, we actually have both players in the chat, so maybe we can ask SC2 about this. My guess is that Queen G5, it's a thematic idea from White's point of view, but from Black's point of view, like, you don't see Queen G5 working too often. I mean, as a Taimanov player, like, this is not a move that I always have on my radar. Like, oh, am I defending against Queen G5? Usually the move doesn't make sense. Although, to be fair, my bishop is usually on E7, so it kind of defends against the queen on G5. SC2 says he went for bishop b4 instead of the usual stuff. And then actually I think Black was fine up until maybe here. Probably castles is a move, or can also consider just pulling the bishop back with bishop e7 here, and then playing like d6 is always a possibility. I actually think rook b8 is interesting. I don't know if it's a move or not, but
I was admiring rook b8. That's a cool move.
Yeah.
I guess bishop e7 would be the other besides rook b8, right?
I think that would be the only other option, right? Well, let's ask Mitch. Mitch knows.
Look what he says. Rook b8 is playable, but not a main line. Holy mac.
Okay, there we have it. Yeah, it feels like bishop e7 kind of seems like the move. Sometimes Black can play bishop a5, but not with the knight on b3. It doesn't really make sense with this knight here. Yeah, well, what to do? Sometimes, you lose the game out of the opening. It happens. But hopefully it was instructive for everyone. I guess here knight a3 definitely wasn't. It's not like Black is just lost. Actually we were thinking Black could go bishop e7 here, or even king f8 possibly, and just give the pawn, but play some kind of position like this where definitely not easy for White to take advantage of their extra pawn, because I mean they're a long ways away from actually doing anything on the king side. Oh, did we lose Jesse? He'll be back.
Nah, for Black, but I assume there's going to be a variety of plans there.
Yeah. So this definitely seems like a position that is still like, yeah, not straightforward for white at all compared to other stuff. You should study what you enjoy, says Sombrero. Yeah, I think so. I think you get more done when you're really interested in what you're reading.
Fair point. Vishnu's making fun of me by saying, "Now I think we should be I think we should be studying the opening." One thing that I have been studying that kind of relates to this is I've been studying Kasparov's game with the second volume of Kasparov's games via the second Nikitin book, and
Mm-hmm.
you know what it's so that the theory that the guy had pre-computer was so intense, so deep, and it involved like when you study chess without the computer, like assessing different crazy positions. For example, that position we had with Queen G7 just back here for a second, or not that one, but like this one. I don't know, or this one. You know, that's just like an art form to try to assess what the heck's going on there, and then like to make a judgment about what you do next. Anyways, what I was trying to get to is the idea that this kind of Sicilian is so violent that you got to realize that mistakes will be made on both sides, and it's going to be really about calculation and then also just blunder check. So knight a3 was obviously not doing the blunder check thing. I'm guessing it was like the rationale, thinking subconsciously, maybe even with se2, was that he might have said something to himself like, well, if I have to play bishop e7 or king f8, then I'm obviously worse. So the right move has to be something like knight a3, right?
Yeah, it can happen.
It happens. That's the way it happens.
Right. Yeah. No, I put almost no thought.
Funny.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, no, he spent 10 minutes on knight a3. 10 minutes.
Well,
yeah, and then the game was over.
It was a tough position. Hey, Pass Pawn. Good to see you. Hey, I see.
The book we have to recommend is Kostya's book with Amanov, Mezgin Amanov, right? That was
No, the other Amanov, Johnny Beck.
Oh, it was a different Amanov.
Yeah. That is a good book, but that one doesn't help black that much. It's more more of a white repertoire.
Well, should we take a look at
Yeah, I've got Quasi's game open. He's playing the Chess Falcon.
Sure.
Who I'm pretty sure is like heavily underrated. Like his chess.com rating is 1400, but I'm pretty sure I saw him at like 2100 or something on Lichess. So I believe this is a pretty decent player we're working with.
Here, I'm gonna put in the PGN.
Cool. And
let me ask you a couple dumb questions. Oh, but you were gonna say something.
Yeah, guys. I just want to note that our camp registration is now fixed. So it was saying that it was sold out, and yeah, it wasn't letting people register. But I think it should be working now. So the link is in the chat. There were people watching earlier, and yeah, that'll be on Sunday. So if you guys want like some training from us, register at the link. And Rapalik says the only Amanov I know is Amanov Hambletonov.
Hambletonov.
That's so funny. All right. Actually, a couple new things going on, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, I got loads of questions for you on other subjects, but this D3 variation against the fantastic Smith Mora, thank you very much. Smith Mora's a great opening. We can fight about that later, but I do think D3 presents white with some interesting challenges, especially like right here, how to play. He can play like he does with knight f3. He can think about f4. He can think at some point with c4, playing more of a Maroczy bind. And I've never really totally known what to do. I think if I was white, I'd probably also just play knight f3.
I feel like I've seen a few players go for c4, especially after d6 or maybe before,
Right.
and just take the space.
But the problem is, if you were a Smith-Morra player, that's not your scene. That is just not your scene. Also, what it's really confusing is when d3 is played, it feels like a concession, when in fact it might not be that bad of a position for black. That's where it gets tricky, I feel.
Right.
Psychologically.
Yeah, especially what they get in the game. I think black is absolutely fine.
Right. And he transfers into this Najdorf structure here.
But my main gripe with the Smith-Morra is just that it's, you know, kind of irrelevant. Like.
Oh man, you're hurting my feelings. What do you mean it's irrelevant?
Just if black plays knight f6, which, I already play because I'm a Sicilian player, so I have to face the c3 Sicilian. There's nothing to do. You just gotta transpose to the Alapin.
Fair enough.
And so, I mean, if this is already part of black's repertoire, then, I mean, I just don't see the drawback of going for this one.
Well, you don't have to deal with the d5 thing, but sure, if it's already part of that. Or you do Eugene's famous thing. Eugene Perlstein has g6 against both c3 and the Alapin. Both Smith-Morra and the Alapin.
Sure. Yeah, also possible.
I'm not sure though about what's going on now. One thing that's always confusing to me is like, in this newfangled world of the Najdorf, where they sometimes go back to knight f3, right? We get some positions that are a little bit similar to this. Normally the knight is on c3 instead of this, but e5, I wouldn't have done that move. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, to me it seems like unnecessary, because it's like, I guess white or black was annoyed by this bishop on f4, but the bishop on f4 usually like doesn't do anything. You just put your knight on c6, queen c7, knight e5, and you're totally fine. But the typical drawback of e5 is like bishop g5, black takes, and you lose the d5 square. But here white's knights are kind of like, okay, they need knight c4, knight e3 before they can really make this happen.
Right. And I thought after a6 he would play b5 or b6 next. I'm not sure about a4. I wasn't sure about knight c5 either.
Knight c5 I like. I don't know. I don't mind it. Knight e6, knight takes d3.
Yeah, okay. But I don't understand a lot of these.
Yeah.
b3, bishop c6. Okay. White's just White's just holding the position, man. Black's doing beautiful now.
Yeah, looks like a nice Sicilian for black. Now white does have the c4 square for the knight, which is nice because it kind of stops black from playing queen b6. But yeah, like Kinchmine says, it looks like a good Sveshnikov.
Exactly. We had that nice Sveshnikov last week. Also very theoretical.
Right.
But yeah, that does remind me of the Sveshnikov.
Oh, but the game has gotten sharp. So black did go queen b6, knight c4, queen b3, knight takes d6, bishop takes a4.
Very principled. Looks correct.
Yeah, I mean, does feel like black is just doing well strategically, and so should kind of work out. Knight on c5, just so solid.
Yep. He's making chess look easy, right? It looks pretty easy at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask you some questions here. Some of it has to do with stuff in the chat. So, what are they talking about with the pro stuff?
Sure. So, on Chessable, you can buy books normally,
Uh-huh.
and those are individual, and you can also sign up for their like monthly subscription, which just gives you some extra features. Like it gives you more slots for like free books, and I guess the most useful thing is that if you mess up on like the same position a couple of times, it'll kind of save those difficult positions for you, and then you can just review those. So that's kind of cool. Like if you go through a book of tactics, then you can just review only the ones like you got wrong, for example. And so they have that as like a pro feature. I haven't used it much. I think I got it for like a year or so, but for me it wasn't too worth it because I'm not on Chessable that often. It's just sometimes I want to like read a book or something, or look at some end games. But for me, it's not such a huge thing.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. Well, Mitch is like a walking endorsement, dude, for Chessable.
I mean, he's on their leaderboards. He's at the top. He's always competing with Greg Shahadi for the #1 spot on Gustafson's repertoire. Just going back and forth.
I saw Greg tweeting him. I didn't realize how intense it was, man. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry, yeah, like no other. Okay, we have Rick D2 on the board. So, well, yeah, it feels like White's gonna be just pawn down, and wow, this
is lost.
Yeah, it's like covering, hitting this, Rook D8 coming, or G6. Yeah.
It's over.
Okay, let's take a look at Sonny's game.
Sure.
And
you're saying Sonny was the guy who crushed earlier today, and he's still playing.
Yeah, I got a perfect score in our first rapid event. I feel so silly. We could have been doing these rapid events like the whole time, and they're so easy and a lot of fun, and people like them. So we'll be doing. I'm gonna try to do at least one like rapid tournament a week.
You've been doing a lot of chess today, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, actually no, today not too busy. Just the one tournament that was like 2 hours, 5 games, and now this, and that's it.
Well, let's talk about this opening because I find this kind of a very interesting opening. I love the name, the Big Center. And so, for example, in this position, Bishop E7, I'm sure is fine, but the move H6, it seems at first like this is going to be better for White, but Black has just a really simple plan of playing D6, kicking the queen back, probably playing G6 at some point. And the unopposed dark square bishop makes it very difficult for White to ever open the position.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've taken a look at this and I have not seen a way for White to get any kind of advantage. When can they get... Go, you're gonna say something?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking like I feel like maybe it's just a matter of taste because it always seems like White will get a lot of space with Knight C3 and then like Queen D2 and F4, and so I feel like well, Black needs to be comfortable playing this position, I guess. But Bishop E7, actually, I don't know. I mean, this like I guess after D5 or D6. I guess Black is kind of okay. I wasn't sure at first,
well,
but
he's definitely. I think he's definitely worse. And there on D5, White had a choice. I'm pretty sure White was going to be better in a kind of Alekhine way if he just played ED.
Right.
I suspect that C5 is also good, but C5, let's call it that. Let's call it the very ambitious attempt.
Yeah, I guess I should just say I'm more confused than anything. I don't really know what's going on. C5 is weird, but Black has no space.
He does have a plan though, right? No, I was gonna say he had a plan, but to me the plan would have been here to play for probably C6 first, and then B6, and then maybe Bishop A6.
Right.
And it would get very tactical because of things like ideas like b4, b5. But a6, that doesn't seem right to me, because now your simple statement about space is really coming true. How are black's pieces supposed to get out? I don't know. I don't know how they're supposed to get out, especially so it's like imagine a French where you don't get to play c5 and you've lost your good bishop. I guess that's what's going on here,
Right.
Yeah. Right, and after b5, there's nothing in the center. There's nothing at all. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm really not sure about a4.
I'm not sure either, because he's got this huge space advantage. Why not just play the simple moves like rook e1 and whatever?
I don't know. One thing I noticed about Sonny today is that his technique really needs a lot of work.
How can a man who scored like 3,000 how can that guy need to do more work? A4 might be correct. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we turn the computer on. The computer says A4 is the move.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the problem is when you take on B4, you're losing. The knight is no longer able to fight for E5. Right?
That's true. Hey, Countersparks, thanks for the gifted sub. Sharing some emotes.
This is just terrible.
I mean, it does look good for white. I'm just pointing out what I noticed during the so the rapid event is what we were talking about, because he got 5 out of 5, so his performance is like 3,000 or something.
3,000, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think sometimes we just have simpler solutions, and I mean, if we just go back for a sec and white goes, yeah, rook e1. I mean,
but A4 was a good move, dude. A4 was a good move.
Well, it might have been good in this position. I just feel like it's kind of reinforcing a negative pattern. It's like, because white is going for something kind of sharp, but it wasn't really necessary. But it's nice. Yeah, Sonny did beat Strong Chess also. They played a rapid training game on the Norm Hunter stream a little while ago. And he played a good game.
That's what we're talking about with the 3,000 mission. He's just crushing everybody.
But I think he could be better. Okay, we're getting a mess in the game, actually. What's going on? Knight f6. B takes a6 was played. Bishop h5.
Yeah.
h3.
It does not seem normal or human to allow bishop h5.
Yeah.
Why not just play knight e5? And then you don't have any counter. Because then on knight e5, I might be missing some, but knight e5, the thought is on bishop h5 you could play either f3 or g4.
Right.
Basically, you would look first at g4, then f3, but f3 could be your default.
Well, this looks good. I think he was just trying to win the pawn. And then after bishop h5, he spent like 2 minutes here. I don't know. I think maybe he played too much rapid. Because to me, like, allowing bishop h5 comes from the same place as like playing a4. Like, that's the same player. This is why I was like nervous. Or even like h3 in this position. But I like knight e5. Yeah, definitely this one. And then g4, I think, for the tempo. And yeah, should be good for white. But so we got h3. Or we got takes, knight e4, g4. Wow. No, they're playing way too fast for this kind of. I mean, this is insane. Like, there's just so many just like random tactics that are like knight e4, king g2. This So yeah, I think these guys are like just blitzing around. I mean, is G4 forced? I guess it might be. Looks pretty forced. Takes here. Maybe white had another option here?
It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't look. It's just.
Couldn't white also just unpin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it, but. And I
Like,
don't. Who's better in this position?
so, I mean,
Now, I gotta be honest with you. If somebody was playing these moves, I would feel suspicious that they were using a computer. Because they just don't feel human.
yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like kind of weird. But I don't know, it is oddly, I can understand it from both players, like H3 and G4. And then from Black's point of view, knight E4 also makes total sense.
94, I get, yeah, but like, but allowing bishop H5 and then just nonchalant really quickly playing H3. Yeah, if I was playing in a tournament, I'd be like, uh-oh, I don't know what I'm dealing with here.
But I don't think this is, I feel like this isn't good for white. So I think white had a much bigger advantage, you know, with knight E5.
Oh, check this out. Modern Pass Pawn did a camp with Gelfand. And these
nice.
camps are coming. I heard Irina Crush did a camp with Kramnik and stuff. So, yeah, totally cool. Totally cool.
Yeah, you can now train with like some amazing players.
You know, it's funny. It seems like we could have been doing it all along, but now it's like we're reaching. Well, I don't know. I guess this new COVID thing has turned us on to something we could have been doing the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, it looks like we got a result in the other game. Looks like might have been some kind of blunder. Rook d2. Oh, queen e6 was played. And white's queen and knight were just hanging. Oh, I totally missed that was happening.
Well, it wasn't surprising. It wasn't surprising, and then white just gave it all away with queen b3. I don't know. It looks
Queen
like
b3 is kind of weird. Yeah.
But it looks like the game was probably over.
Right.
Well, it might be a short night for us. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like Gelfand and Kramnik. I've been doing all these camps and stuff. And one thing I noticed is, so I'm doing a lot of talented kids. And they are pretty much uniformly like Lee chess kids. And they get kind of freaked out when you turn on, you're like, oh, let's use the chess.com. And I was wondering, if you had some kind of experience with that, any thoughts about, because I know that you have more inside information than I do on like the chess wars. You would make a good person to actually do a video. The
Well,
chess.com wars or chess24 wars or something.
I mean, I don't know that I don't have like spies on the inside or anything. Like I'm not like a whisperer of chess secrets.
Yeah.
I didn't notice too much of a Lee chess vibe. I mean, I feel like nowadays I see kids play on both. Definitely some kids that like only play on chess.com. I mean, it does feel weird to talk about this with ChessDojo being a chess.com partner and all, but there's like a clear culture, out there on chess.com versus Lee Chess.
Well, right. I mean, you would be the person to do it though, because you are the great conciliator. Whereas I feel like online, if you listen to people, they're so partisan and angry. Like they are like up in arms. They're up in arms about like which chess site you use. Um,
Yeah. But you know
and
what? I think that's a problem that transcends outside of chess. You know, like in
yeah.
music, you have people who are Beyonce fans like sending death threats to Taylor Swift fans over nothing, over like literally nothing. And I think we're just getting the same thing in chess. Like people are always like calling out chess.com and Chess. It's like
Beyonce fans are the wordsmiths.
so well, yeah, so I think people, yeah, just really get riled up over a lot of nothing. Chess.com, I would say, maybe definitely gets a little bit too much, like I think they get a little too much hate online, because I mean, you know, the people at chess.com, like they're all chess players, you know, like they all love the game, they're doing it because they like chess, and people treat them like corporate overlords and like
Right.
Illuminati type conspiracies. So that's always been kind of a bummer, because they're like really nice people that run the site. And they like, you know, I remember going to a couple of their I guess corporate retreats where it was all like the engineers and content people, and like people play chess on the breaks. It's like a bunch of chess players, you know, running the site.
Oh, that's cool. I'd never gone to one of those famous retreats. Yeah, cool. See, this is why you're the inside man. You can do a video about this. They can be corporate overlords and still nice personally. That's true, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to the credit of Chess, I guess, honestly, I can't even think of a controversy that Chess has been involved in where like their actions were like questioned by the community or anything like that. They've always managed to just, I don't know. I guess when your site is free and like, you know, I guess you just focus on making things, like trying to keep things as fair as possible, you can avoid the controversy, avoid staying in, you know, getting out of trouble.
I mean, one thing from a like a pullback perspective that I think is really interesting is, you know, a thing I feel like I learned through other products. For example, something totally different. Let's say like bicycles, right? It's like you have different companies producing bicycles, and they all have different styles, and they have patents and ways of production. But due to the marketplace, they're all going to be priced kind of competitively, and there's not actually going to be that much difference, at least in an evolved product like a bicycle, right? Because it's like a technology that's been around for a while, and it's just going to be different companies doing versions of the same thing. Whereas Lichess, like so based on that model, you could say, well, ultimately these three sites, and maybe there's others. Well, there's loads of others on the periphery, right? I guess you could call our site one of the loads of others that are like on the periphery of the big three. Anyway, so Chess24 and Chess.com have similar, let's say, corporate identities, and Lichess, I'm sure they're making money. They're just doing it via donations, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different. They're still. It's not true to say that they're not making money. They're just found a different way of doing it.
Well, to be fair, I mean, they are like, they're clearly a non-profit, right? Because they don't charge anything. You can use their site, you know, totally free, and they rely on donations. But they also they have like a public ledger where they post all of their expenses and how they spend like all the money they bring in. So like very transparent. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of their people have been working like, you know, volunteer hours for many years. So I feel like they are really like, you know, Yeah, they've been giving it away for a long time, and I'm really happy that the community supports them. I think that's so important.
And Vishnu talks about the cheating thing, and the dedicated team that Chess.com has. I think that's definitely an interesting and important issue. Where it gets, this isn't Chess.com's fault, but where it gets really interesting there, I feel, is Chess.com doesn't yet have the will to legally persecute people, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, sure, you've got a team and stuff, but it doesn't feel like ultimately anything's happening on that front. I don't know. It's just this, and I feel like eventually it's going to have to happen, especially if, you know, money events turn into a real thing. Which Vishnu made a great point on Twitter the other day. He was like, dude, if it's true that the basic consensus is now that the virus is like, you're sitting in a room with some people all day, that's the way you get it. It's not outside. It's not touching the playground. It's not when your kid goes and touches the swing at the playground. It's when you sit inside with a bunch of other people all day long, and that's what a chess tournament is.
Yeah.
It might also mean, similarly, that schools are done. You know, you just forget about going to school ever again. Anyways, I'm being a downer here. What I'm trying to say is, like, with all that, we might have to just simply move online, right? Like, that's what we're doing now. And if that's the case, then, well, right, this whole cheating thing has to get resolved. Like, priority number one.
Yeah, well, we really liked that video that Danny did on the anti-cheating, how he was talking about all that they were doing and their updates. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, it feels like chess.com is a lot more active. And I think I like how they do it. I mean, they're trying to protect their players, but yeah, they don't need to be like proven right. You know, it's just like if they think someone is cheating, does make sense to just kind of keep it quiet and be like, okay, you can't play on our site anymore, but we're not going to publicly out you, because then, yeah, that's like, you know, kind of like striking allegations and stuff. And then, I mean, obviously the thing that really sucks is players who get banned wrongfully. I don't know of any like huge cases. I'm sure it's happened. I've seen a couple of cases like get like overturned, but yeah, I don't know of any famous cases where like someone was banned and then it was turned out like, oh yeah, they weren't cheating at all. But yeah, that would obviously be terrible, but I'm sure they're being like extremely careful about that, and not banning someone without a ton of like computer evidence.
They didn't deal with it, right?
What's that?
It doesn't necessarily, it's not clear to me that if you get your case overturned that you weren't cheating. It just means that chess.com didn't want to deal with your complaints anymore, right? Like at a certain level, it's just not in their interest to fight it, right? Like if you accuse somebody of cheating, it's so much legal hassle. Yeah, I don't know. So you're right, if they really make a big stink about it, yeah, why, you know, just don't let them overturn it. That would be my guess, you know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But now, I mean, there's like anti-cheating measures that you can well, nowadays you can have tournaments where you're not only supposed to play on camera, but you have to be showing your computer screen as well. So that makes it much more difficult to cheat while you're just kind of on camera and your screen is forcibly shown. So yeah, you could still cheat theoretically, but if you're playing like a blitz game under those conditions, that would be really difficult, or like a rapid game, because you wouldn't be able to get up away from the board. So yeah, still not perfect, but I feel like it covers for most people that would otherwise just, do something as like just having a second monitor and cheating. Now that's kind of like totally out of the question. Hey, Chess Falcon, thanks for following. It's about time. We've seen like several of your games.
Yeah, I was a little bit of a disappointment today that we didn't get more people. I felt like for sure we were going to get more. It was, I mean, maybe it's a Father's Day thing, but I thought for sure we were going to get some more stuff coming in from the latter. Or I guess also, right, it's because part of it is that this people were obsessed with the round robin, I think rightfully so. And then now that round robin is just a couple games left with that thing.
Yeah, I think because it's finishing up, we don't have as many games.
Yeah, I've been playing some weird, and I'm sure everybody has this feeling. Okay, have you ever, I think the phrase is juicing or something like that? No, what was the phrase? Oh, man. When a guy, like, sometimes looks at the computer.
I don't know.
There's a guy, I kind of a dubious character. He's like an FM. And I played him in a real tournament ages ago, and kind of an abrasive personality. I'm not going to mention his name, because if you say somebody's name in connection with cheating, they will throw a fit. Anyways, he admitted that he was, I think his word was juicing or some other thing like that. And so what they're doing, right, is like they are sometimes looking at the computer, but not always. Right? And he admitted to doing this, but he justified it by saying, this is the kind of guy who is not the most pleasant character, having met the guy, but like that other people were doing it as well.
Right.
And I've definitely had this feeling online where I feel like I'm playing some guy and then they're thinking in the wrong position.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking in the wrong position. I'm like, oh man. And that feeling of like being cheated on is just so nasty that it then turns me on tilt or something. Like maybe they're cheating and maybe they're not, but then I start losing my mind. And it happened to me once in a real tournament too, where then the guy was like going off while it was his move, and that freaked me the F out. Anyways.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, like it just kind of drives you crazy. You just get paranoid because you just don't know, and now you're just thinking about it, which just distracts you from the game. So it's just bad for your play in general. And yeah, probably in most cases the opponent isn't cheating, but like, yeah, you just don't know anymore. So it kind of sucks. Yeah, well, I think I would suggest for folks to still, you got to try to play every game like, you have to assume your opponent is not cheating, because then if you think your opponent's moves are like backed by the engine, you're gonna lose the game, of course, no matter what. You're just gonna have such a pessimistic outlook. You're not gonna go for anything. You think, okay, I'm just gonna get killed anyway. It's like when you play 2800 players, someone super strong, a lot of times you just like, you're gonna get crushed, so you barely show up. So I would still suggest for folks to play as much as they can.
If I was Eric Toast in this position, I would feel suspicious, dude. I would feel suspicious. Because a lot of the moves are played so fast, and like A7, that's a very tactical move. Were a lot of the other moves that White did kind of weird? That's true, they were. But A7 looks weird, man. Like now he's threatening Rook B1, and then on Knight B5, I think the intention is like Rook A5 and Knight A7, and the Knight's like perma pinned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's real things going on here.
I don't know. I think they're just like blitzing moves out. Honestly, that's what it looks like to me. But we'll see. I mean, now black plays g6. It is hard for black to take this a7 pawn, because white just always goes rook b1.
Right.
And then rook a1.
Yeah, my sense is this is winning for white, and a move like g5 at some point is going to be nice. He just went. Rook a6 looks like a weird move to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Rook a6 is weird. Yeah, I wonder if he wants knight b5, rook a5.
But why rook a6?
Well, to move the knight.
But the knights are. Wouldn't you want to put it on e5? Wouldn't that be the square you would want it to be on?
It's true.
No,
I don't know. Maybe knight could go to c5.
I don't know. But it not.
Hey, Pass Pawn. Thanks for the 5 gifted subs.
All right.
Coming through.
Hey, so I want to ask you more questions. What is the status of the Vegas tournament?
Well, I haven't heard too much about it, but it seems like they announced it, and I haven't heard of it getting canceled.
Okay.
So, it seems like it's...
Have you already had the virus, by the way?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
I feel like I've been feeling weird the last couple of months, so maybe at some point I had something.
Yeah.
Paul in New Jersey says Vegas is resuming.
Right. That's what we're thinking. And, Icy's asking, don't you pick up the pawn now? And I assume the problem is rook a5, and then if you take the pawn, you're never breaking that pin.
Yeah. Then I guess white just brings the knight to b5.
Something, something, right? Yeah. It's funny, I remember I didn't really know how to cheat in high school, but I remember there was like, I was a delinquent, and the cheating that I did, I remember, was really dumb. And I would like be looking over somebody's shoulder or something, and then like to compensate for the fact that I was cheating, I would deliberately do a couple wrong. It was so, and then of course my end of final score was just absolutely terrible anyway. Yeah, that's a good cheating story. So rook a5, there's a lot of things I don't understand. So like black could now do it, well, white has to worry about knight d6, knight c8, and then rook a7.
That's true. Knight d6.
The weird thing is, if it was knight d6, knight c8, if it's white's move right there, then he can play rook b5. And that's still bad news. So,
Yeah, so black might need even king g7 also.
So I didn't know. Oh, white's playing very.
King e3. So now knight c8, he could go rook b5. Then okay, yeah, people are wondering about knight b6. Yeah, okay, like, of course you can do this.
It's good.
Knight just comes in, but maybe black goes king g7 and then sets up knight c8.
Yeah, the whole rook a6, rook a5 thing, I don't understand. Who were the players in this Sunny game?
Yeah, this is Sunny versus Eric Toast. Vishnu says Rook A5 I'd say is a GM move, and then IC goes Rook A5 is obvious. Oh, the small board is too small. I mean, I think
Oh, I see.
I mean, here it kind of makes sense. I mean, we're not just gonna lose the pawn with Rook takes A7, so yeah. So now we got Knight D6, King E3 on the board. Yeah, Paswan, we had a rapid tournament earlier today. It was open to everyone in the Discord. Still hard to see the player names. Yeah, I don't know how to do this.
Can you just make it a little bigger? You can crowd me out a little bit.
Okay, but you're gonna be too small.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll just delete this. No.
Oh, I got deleted.
Deleted the wrong thing. Hold on, we'll get you back.
Hey, so one of the reasons I want to ask you about Vegas is, are you at training right now or anything like that?
I am not doing any official training, but I mean, I would think about playing that tournament. It's always super close for me, and usually a good opportunity.
Yeah, I want to play that tournament. That's a great thing. All right, so here's the moment of truth for Sunny here. Knight C8 was just played. This was Black's intention the whole time. What was White thinking when he allowed this? I don't know. Now maybe he has some dark. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't get it.
Well, Rook B5 may be the idea, yeah?
So Rook A7.
Rook B8?
D6.
Wait, but the king is still on G8. Oh, King G7 has been played. Sorry.
Yeah, King D7. Yeah, sorry. My bad.
Gotcha. King D4 and Knight C8 now. Yeah, I'm not sure what White's idea is here. I've been trying to figure this out, actually.
Yeah, so this is the moment of truth. And White, like the last several, there was 3 moves that didn't really prepare for this. Like maybe he's got something up his sleeve for this. But the moves that didn't prepare for this Knight C8 thing were King E3, King D4, and Rook A6. All 3 of those moves. I felt White was winning, but those are 3 tempi that I didn't understand. You know, how you were going to deal with something like this.
Yeah, the problem with Knight takes A7 is that
Rook A5.
yeah, the knight gets pinned with Rook A5, and then it's really hard for Black to move there. But I'm not sure what White is going to do here. I'm trying to figure out.
You know, one bizarre thing too is if Rook B5, Knight A7, Rook A5, even there, you've got Knight C6, Rook A5, Knight A5, and I don't know what's happening. Now, obviously, obviously Rook A7 is the move, but I just want to point out, well, maybe here you actually could do that and have great play. You might just have great play with there. Yeah, so Rook A. Anyways, yeah, I was making an abstruse point, but Rook A7, I don't know what we're doing. Notice that on Rook B7, we're not threatening anything, right? We're not threatening anything. Play like H5 or something.
Yeah. Well, we got King C5 on the board.
Okay. Let's get that. King C5. This might be genius. Let's try the obvious Rook A7. And then what's gonna happen?
Looks like not enough. I don't know. I mean, 2 pawns.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing.
I mean, if the king comes over... Well, first it's hard for the king to get over, but...
can't even get over.
But even if
and
it goes this way...
H5 is coming at any point.
Yeah, I mean, knight is really slowing things down. Not to mention black could also bring in his king and...
Yeah.
Never.
That's why earlier too, one of the moves that white could have thought of was g5.
Yeah. No, looks like it's just running out for white.
Yeah, it's hard for me to understand so many moves in this game because some moves were played at a very high level. Like there was some high level stuff going on earlier.
Well, yeah, Sonny's a sharp player, but I don't know if this is all so accurate. I feel like he could have had a really big advantage.
I mean, in this position here, before rook a6, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's got to be. Got to be. For example, in this position, let's just see if I can win it in a simple way. Let's say g5.
Yeah, king g7.
Say f4. d1.
Let's try this.
b7. Hello.
Okay.
Okay, white could have maybe done other things too. I was just giving you a sense of like, yeah, there's big problems, right? There's big problems. In addition to g5, you could get your king just out of the way too, so that this rook b7 / b8 stuff comes with more force.
Yeah,
because it's a mating pattern that every French player has suffered under at some point, right? Your king is gonna get boxed out because with rook b7 we can force you off, and I win the c pawn, and there's mate plus c pawn action.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, looks like it should have been nice for white, but in the game, I think he's just kind of blown it. Oof. Well, happens.
Well, Kostya, what's next on your chess schedule coming up?
Okay, well, I just did my photo shoot for CoChess.
Oh man, I did that too, man.
So that's been fun.
I did that too.
Did you get like a purple background?
I had this guy come, totally nice guy, and he just worked me over, man. He did. I don't think I've done a professional photo shoot in a very long time, and you know, he made me change out of this clothes and that clothes. Was I really prepared, fashion-wise or psychologically for this thing? No. You know, he came though. He took all these pictures with like different backgrounds. Also, the purple one. He's like, let's make it, let's make it fun or whatever with the purple thing.
Oh wow. I only wore like literally this shirt, like this one t-shirt. He just told me to wear dark clothing and just show up, and that was it. I didn't have to. But I had to go to him. I had to drive like an hour both ways. So it was a while.
My guy drove up from Philly. It was really impressive.
Wow.
Yeah. Right, so we should say, Kostya and I are starting this project that we both don't really know what it's going to be, but it's like, the site is CoChess. Let's actually see if their site has changed anything in the last couple of days, where we are going to be some of the coaches, and I haven't even explored this at all as a consumer. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm on their mailing list as a coach, but I don't really know what's happening. Hey, Mr. Meerkat, thanks for the follow. Yeah, we were just doing some commentary today. This is kind of our weekly like podcast style commentary show where we look at some of the games played by players in the dojo and we discuss the latest happenings and stuff. There was a question from Emetophilia about the value of just playing through games really quickly, like 1 minute per game, and trying to go through like 200 games per day to build on pattern recognition. I don't know how you feel, Jesse, but to me that doesn't feel like that's really going to develop any kind of deep understanding. I think it would be a much better use of your time to go through like 2 or 3 games, but looking at them closely and trying to really like understand like what happened, what were the main mistakes, what were the main ideas in each game. Just kind of zipping through them quickly, you're not going to get any kind of appreciation for like the nuances, what had to be calculated, especially in a game. You know, you're not just guessing on every move, you have to actually calculate things and try to work stuff out for yourself. So it might be useful to play through some games like maybe in your opening kind of quickly just to look at some ideas, but I think if you're trying to develop your chess, you should take the time to go through like annotated games and examples, just like the ones you would find like in Silman's books, just kind of like cleanly annotated, showing kind of clear ideas and concepts that you can learn from.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have to add to that is I did have a friend who had some coach, and he told him to do this, and he would go through all the games that were played. Back then it was the week in chess, and he would get them, and it was like he basically looked at all the top level games very quickly, and I think that's what the comment was about. And that is something, especially for people who just kind of want to keep tabs on what's going on in chess, especially like opening trends. That's maybe useful. For myself, I think something I need to get back to is the best opening work I ever did was I would print out games, whatever thing I had, whenever opening I wanted to deal with, and then look at it with a human eye, then check it with the computer, but really try to see it as a player would see it, to think about the problems involved. Because once you look at the computer, you're like, oh, these guys are idiots. But then when you're looking at it without the computer, you're like, I have no idea what to do here.
So true.
I think the classics are really, I wouldn't say going over quickly. On the contrary, I was going over some Kasparov games today, and there's some really interesting, bizarre stuff that goes on. Why don't I show you a game, actually, Poster?
Sure.
Show you a game, buddy. This will be about this question of classics or whatever. I don't know how helpful this would be to other people watching, but here we go. So this is a game you've probably seen. And this is like Kasparov against Petrosian 1982.
Uh-huh.
And so we get this. And Petrosian does not go for the flamingo. If you guys want an easy opening to understand, then it's the flamingo with knight c6 instead of castling. But anyways, the idea of flamingos is play d6, e5. I've never approved of what Petrosian does here, which is to play d5.
Oof. He's uninitiated.
And probably c5 is in an accuracy. Maybe rook d8, but you're still suffering.
Oh my god.
So one of the things that's great actually about the annotations is I've seen this game before. This is like a total rout. This is just surprising, first of all, that Petrosian loses so quickly in this game, but also in the way it happens. Like you would think it would be like Petrosian playing white or something like that. But also there's going to be some weird moves coming up. Now the first weird move that I was looking at just with human eyes was rook. I figured rook d8 just had to be played, just like whatever, it had to be. And I was looking at like what was the problem? Why didn't dude do it? And I was thinking maybe he wanted this. I couldn't make that work. And then I eventually said, okay, queen f4. White's a little bit better, but still, why wouldn't you play rook d8 if queen f4 is the best move? And anyways, the computer said I was right afterward. You know, I
Mhm.
looked at it later with the computer. You gotta play rook d8, white's better after queen f4. Anyway, so here we go. Queen e7, knight e5, knight takes, knight takes. Okay, so obviously clear advantage for white.
Yeah.
May arguably already winning. Well, let's say it's clear advantage here, and then after black's next move, which I really have a hard time understanding, then I feel like it's got to be winning. So now here's the funny thing about this position. As a chess fan and as a player, is that the following way that Kasparov wins this thing, it feels like when you don't have access to the computer, it's like, oh, he found like these only moves to win this weird game.
Right.
And no, there was loads of moves here that dude could have done. And he played queen a5 here. And yeah, there is, like, I guess, a tactical justification for this, but honestly, there's no, like, black's idea is to play f6. Even if he got f6, he's obviously still going to be much worse.
Yeah.
Okay, but with queen a5, I'm going to say I kind of sort of get it. And you're looking at c7, so a variation could be... Am I doing this right? Probably not. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not doing this right.
Well, looks pretty good. Rook c7.
This is already like Rushville's. Oh, wait, I got it. Here's your base 6 here, and then you got to do that. It's still winning, though. So it's just gonna be lights out here. Okay. Let me go back. So, this is just like a miss. A lot of these games, like, also the thing I really don't understand as a chess fan is a lot of the Karpov-Kasparov games. Like, some of the draws too in those matches are just so weird. Like, why didn't they play on? Like, the moves they were making were sometimes so strange. Anyways, queen f5, and black then, because of some wild stuff happening on c7, then this was what? I don't get it. Then rook d3. There is some tactical justification for this, but I'm not going to show it right now. e4 happened. Okay, now here's an interesting point. So, gotta be winning for white.
Yeah.
And, the thing that Kasparov does, it's like, in the annotations, it's like this move is presented as a god level, right?
Wow.
Presented as a god level. Now, the point is that you're defending the rook, and the rook kind of sort of does some, and the bishop maybe gets out, but like the human move would just be like, dude, why am I not winning that position? Why isn't it just not over? Why isn't it not simply over, man? And so, of course, it is over.
Or can I ask about, like, queen
Yeah.
c5? I was thinking.
Yeah, queen c5, gotta be over. Got to be over. Yeah, absolutely.
Bishop f1. Can you imagine if a dojo student played bishop f1? We'd be like, what is this?
Oh, man. Yeah, I understand it now. So, but like when you're going over it as a human, it starts feeling like all these are genius level. And the game literally went like this. It went something like here, 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 here. I'm not making it up. And very soon, dude just gave up. He just resigned, dude. Here, I can't even remember the end. It's so weird. And these moves, are they all forced and stuff? Well, when you're just like kind of looking at it, because I looked at this when I was a kid, it was like really effing impressive, And but then it's such a weird thing. You turn on the computer, and then okay, right, rook d8, and then you're waiting for queen c5.
Nice.
There was like a mystique back then about players like Kasparov playing these moves like bishop f1, a3, b3 that are certainly like not bad moves, but White's winning almost regardless. He didn't need to do all this stuff.
Right.
He didn't have to do it, bro. Anyways, I don't know if that was helpful to people, but it's interesting to think back on the classics and the mystique of it was a totally different time where like you weren't even really allowed to question the top players. And actually, there was a funny thing, on Twitter. There's a guy named Bruce. I'm sure you follow this guy too. He's like a Canadian. He's living up in like BC. He's doing chess all the time. This is the guy actually who founded the term chess punks.
Oh, nice.
And he's going over some Silman book, and
Neil Bruce, of course. Yeah.
And he's looking at like an Alekhine game from back then. And Silman gives Alekhine.
Oh, we lost you, Jesse.
By the way, Jose, I have a theory. I think it's Zoom, or not Zoom, but Discord that why we lose the connection sporadically.
Yeah, Discord's not perfect.
Anyways, so he's talking about some move like bishop f1 that Alekhine makes, and then he like rips into Silman being like, this wasn't an X-Clam. The computer has 3 better moves. Yeah.
I remember that post. That was funny.
It's a totally different world. And then, there's back in the day, it wasn't really possible to criticize Kasparov for making these weird a3, b3 moves. They're not bad moves. I mean, it's a great game still and everything. But they were seen as the Punisher moves of the way to beat Petrosian or something like that. Whereas now you've got dudes like you can turn on the Stockfish and it's like instant refutation of all your chess dreams.
Right.
Of all your chess dreams.
Well, it's overtaken as the authority. Yeah, in the past there was no objective truth. Like you could argue all day over chess principles, but you wouldn't be able to convince a strong player that their ideas are wrong. Even if you show them line after line of concrete variations. But now with the engine, you can't argue with it. I mean, the engine will still be wrong in a lot of positions, but people have so much trust for it that until they see the engine evaluation change, they're going to be really skeptical. Actually, Neil had one today where he was going through this game from a book released just a couple of years ago. And in the game, White had played some really nice Nimzovician knight h1, knight f2 maneuver, and then knight h3, knight g5, and won crushingly. And then he pointed out that the engine was showing that White had an even stronger move, bishop takes h5, some sacrifice in the position that's just crushing also. And he was saying why wasn't this mentioned in the book?
I'm looking at it now, yeah.
Now, to his credit, I think he explains in the tweets below, he came up with the idea himself. It's not like he just turned on the engine and was like, oh, there's a better move. He was like, oh, how about this? Does this work?
Right.
And then he checked it with the engine, and then the engine confirmed his variations, which I think is totally legit way to do it. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. I mean, from the author's point of view, he's trying to make a point about knight maneuvers, Obviously, there's always going to be concrete resources in the position. Maybe he saw bishop takes h5 was an engine move and was like, yeah, whatever, it's not important.
Well, Kosi, I guess we're going to wrap it up, buddy. I guess we're going to wrap it up because this game's over.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. It's been a long week. We got a lot of stuff coming. Once again, we got a camp going on next Sunday, guys. If you want to get some hands-on training from me, Jesse, and David, you can sign up at the link below. Or if you're not a USCF player, you can just message me on Discord and we can register you there. And yeah, I'll be doing more shows this week. Norm Hunter tomorrow, then Jesse's Road to 2500 on Wednesday.
Well, actually, good. Thank you for bringing that up, because I need to make an announcement on that score. This on the final Wednesday of every month, I do a show, really kind of for chess.com, but I do it here, and I go over people's games. So if you go to if you just Google my name and say member chess analysis chess.com, you will see that. And it's turned into a thing. I have to say that if you want me to go over your game, I usually only can do 17 or 18, which is a lot, even to keep the ideas of what I'm going to say about these games in my head. But anyways, if you go over the game kind of diligently and make some notes on it, I will go over the thing. And usually I'll post it on our YouTube channel as well afterwards. So I'm not sure about the Road to 2500 show next week, just because I feel like I'm overwhelmed with that one.
Got it.
Yeah. By the way, and two, I think something we can talk about even on the air is I want to do a thing where if people want me to review their game, or Kostya or David, that you can write to us. And I think that if you are a God level Patreon, which I think is just Disciple, that you can get a game reviewed by us. And I think it's a little bit new in terms of how we do it, but I think we could do it either over Twitch or YouTube, but conceivably both. But Twitch, especially if you wanted to talk to us while we're looking at the game, and if you just wanted us to do a clean presentation on it, then YouTube would be the place, I guess, right, for us to do something like that.
Yeah. I think we'll set that up as an option on Patreon to have us do game analysis. Maybe we can do a thing where people can cash in their dojo gold from watching the stream and get a game analyzed on the show, kind of like live. I think those shows are a lot of fun, and I also want to do a show where we try to guess the rating of a user submitted game. So we'll have a gnome who collects games from the people, doesn't show us their rating, and then gives us just the moves, and then we try to figure out the ratings, and whoever guesses closest is right. So that's what we want to do. I think Dave's watching us. David, normally this show goes until 6, but all the games have ended, so we're just kind of wrapping it up.
Yeah. And we have a good question from Mitch too.
Yeah.
We are planning to hopefully wrap this thing up. We have Pirate King has not been finishing his games, so I don't know if that's actually going to finish, but I'm hoping that very soon we'll get the next round robin started. I don't know if we have I don't know if you have some thoughts on that, Kostya.
Yeah, no, actually, maybe by next Sunday it would be really cool if we can get the next one. We have a couple of masters that want to play. I think a lot of the players from these groups will want to start a new tournament as well. So maybe we'll put out a post, see who's interested. And yeah, maybe this will be kind of the final week to finish up any games from the current tournaments. Or maybe we can give people 2 weeks to finish it out, but we can also just start the next tournament.
We can also just start the next one.
Yeah. So I think we will.
And there's in real life too, we've had round robins where players didn't finish or dropped out because they were sick or whatever, and that might be going on with, say, the Pirate King, something like that. You don't know. Yeah.
But what's great is that it doesn't ruin the tournament because it's not rated or anything. There are no norms. So people, we definitely don't want people to just drop out. So if Pirate King wants to play, he needs to have a good explanation for what happened. But otherwise, yeah, I think we'll keep doing them as long as people want to play 90 plus 30 every Sunday. I think these tournaments are going to be a good thing.
Cool. All right, guys, I'm going to check out. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, we are going to close it out. Ooh, maybe we'll raid Greg Shahadi. Looks like he's playing some chess. Oh, we've also got Half Thor Julius. Wow, the Mountain streaming chess. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in. Make sure to follow the channels, the YouTube, the Twitter, join Discord. Next show will be my stream tomorrow, Norm Hunter, 5 p.m. Pacific time with Todd Bryan. I'll be continuing to train him for chess titleship.